Hi folks, welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to be doing a fall project. Fall's in the air, and we're thinking about putting a hillbilly hat on a pumpkin head and kind of a slash snowman. But anyway, we're going to make this guy into a pumpkin head and a squash body. How's that? And so let's get cracking. All right, so we're going to do this little pumpkin squash body, pumpkin head squash body, and he's going to have a little scarf wrapped around him and with a hillbilly hat. So let's get started using the biggest V tool you have, and we are going to outline his head. That way it'll fit up into the hat better. This is a great little project for fall. And even too, you could turn him into a hillbilly snowman. Just leave the hat on. I think it'd be so neat. So just come right in here with your largest V tool you have, start separating and showing distinction here between the hat and the head. It's good cutting wood today. All right, so now I went ahead and out V-tooled around the scarf and everything. So let's start tucking the head in a little bit here. We're going to take our knife here and start trying to give him a round look. Again, remember, pumpkins are not perfectly round. They've got those ribs on them and everything. So don't worry about if he's a little lopsided, so what? And that'll just make him more caricature looking. Take our V-tool here and try to cut here a little bit. And we'll just take our knife here and continue going down and rounding his face off as we go. Every time you sit down at the bench or wherever you carve at, make sure your tools are in good shape. Make sure that your tools have been buffed, and that way you can have an enjoyable time carving. I've said before, your tools should be sharp as a razor blade. Now we're going to take our knife and we're going to make a stop cut on what we V-tooled out around the scarf. And around this, always be aware where your hands are at whenever you are making stop cuts, because the wood has a tendency to give away in places as you're cutting the fiber of the wood. And so you are just making your way around this guy. All right, when you put a stop cut on this side, now this is going to be the knot right in here. This is going to be the knot right here. I'll show you in the camera, kind of give you an idea of where we're heading. All right, so now we're going to take our knife and we're going to start removing the wood from the sides here to try to get this scarf to stand out away from his body. Again, you can turn this into a snowman for a Christmas or winter project. But I thought, man, we need to do a pumpkin type body on this guy, because Mike Shipley did these years ago, and I've got the rough outs for him here, and I just thought, you know what, we haven't done one yet, so let's do one. And it'll be a lot of fun. Sometimes you just need to jump off and do something simple. And because, we all, if you're an experienced carver, you try to do projects that challenges your abilities, and we need to get out of our comfort zone, try different things here. Okay. All right. There we go. Now let's push away from us toward the end of the pumpkin, toward the bottom. And just keep whittling away, carving away. All right, as we're carving away, we always beware where that knife is heading, keeping your thumb out of the way, best that you can. All right, and leave it rough looking. Don't try to smooth him out. Leave these cut marks that your tool is making, because boy, when you paint this guy, oh man, he's gonna pop. And I like seeing the ridges, the planes of the knife cuts, and it's just a wonderful look. All right, now let's work on the scarf. Working our way around the scarf here. Okay. All right, now let's get rid of the surface here off of the scarf itself. And we're going to cut that in just like that. Okay. That's how he's looking so far. All right, so let's take our knife, come down, make the second part of the scarf there. We relieve that to where one scarf is laying on a little lower than the other. The cloth is. Again, remember, he's out in the elements, so he's not going to be, look like he just came out of the store. He's been out there, the heat and the cold and whatever. But anyway, you get the idea. Now I'm starting to round off the corners for the knot, so I'm going to lower this part of the scarf down to where the knot can stand out from the rest of the scarf. So to create the knot, we're taking off the corners, rounding it, rounding and rounding. Here we go. Round and round. Remember to take off the edges. And just continue to downsize this knot a little bit. Okay, good. Now, just come in and clean up this area here a little bit around the head where the neck would be if he had one. Taking our brush, brushing away some of this stuff. Okay, so that's where we're at so far. Let's work on the hat a little bit here. Now we're going to take a number 7, or if you have a number 9 gouge, you can come in here and work this hat down. And again, I think the rougher you can make the hat, the better off it's going to look. All right. Just an old hillbilly hat that they probably found laying around the house there. But you know what, that will look good on him. So let's continue that right on. And the reason why I'm doing the hat toward the very last is because a lot of times if we start getting the hat, if we get the hat done first, our fingers or our thumbs likely will be landing here somewhere and pushing on that thin rim, the brim of his hat, and it could break off. So I always try to do my hats toward the last. Try to. Whether it's on a bandsaw cutout or a rough out. Now this is going to take a little time because you got quite a bit of real estate right here. All right. 2, we're working with end grain. But even with end grain, your tools should be very sharp. Shouldn't be too much of a problem for your tools. All right, let's take a look at him. See there, we're making some progress there. So now I'm going to take my knife, try to do hopefully the rest of it. We'll see. We may have to go back to this number 7 3/8 gouge, but we'll see. And if you don't have a gouge, you can do it with a knife, but it's going to take a little longer because right there, that tool there was a good tool to remove a lot of the excess. And the crook of his hat. The tip of it. Now we're going to work on the bottom of the hat by using the knife to clean up the edges. And again, always turn your carving upside down. That way you can see places you need to revisit, because a lot of times we get busy and have a tendency to forget to look underneath the hat or places like that there. Try to hold him here where I can get better control under the hat here. Because when you paint this guy, you want all this to be cleaned up underneath here, because if you don't clean up the areas here like this, it's tougher on your brushes. And so we just want to make sure that and again, you're working with end grain, so be patient. And you're going to have a start and stumble starts here, places like that. So it's just the way it is. So don't get discouraged. All right, let's take our number 7 U-gouge and let's clean up more back here. Let's take our knife, begin to clean up the edges of the hat. Now if it starts tearing one way, like it is there, see, look how it tore there on me? Well, what do? You just go back the other way. Don't stress out about it if it tears on you. And just go back in and revisit that. Okay. Try to dress this up underneath here a little bit. Okay, let's take a V-tool here now and put the knot in the scarf. Again, don't make everything straight, Van. Okay. And then we'll come in with our knife here, make little dips in the scarf. Because, again, it's not a new one. It's been out in the elements. So give it some shadows. See there? Like there, places like that. All right, then we're going to take our V-tool, come across here, create the fringe of the scarf, and just crisscross them like so. And I like coming up from the other way, from the bottom of the scarf to break up the edges. Okay, same thing over here. Take your time through here. Okay, let's stop and look at them, get our brush out. Okay, that's where we're at right there. Let's put a few little cuts in here to show stress. Just little things like that there just adds to your carving. Okay, so let's put a band around his hat and start here at the base of the funnel of the hat and work my way around. Then come up a little ways off of there and start making the top part of the band. Like so. See there? And you put a cut in here, you know, in that hat. Another cut. And put some twist to it, you know. Put some wrinkles there. Yeah, boy. That's looking better. Up here at the top, do all these. Okay. Now we're going to put in the ridges of the pumpkin that the pumpkin has. And so we're just going to come up right through here. And some are going to be all the way from the bottom to the top, and some are just going to be starting here and there. And just scatter them out. Okay. Like I said, with hair, follow through, go all the way to the edge of your pumpkin here with your ribs of the pumpkin. Okay. Okay. And then, you know, if you want, you can put a few up here in the head. Then let's make some little places in the scarf where it kind of needs some wrinkles and just little divots here and there. Okay. Do like so. Now you can either paint the eyes on, or if you want to, you can carve them. And so if you want to do a standard pumpkin face, you can. something like so. And so anyway, you can do however you like there, but I think he'll be fun to do. But let's say that you didn't want to do that. You just take your knife and erase all that and do the normal looking with the triangle eyes, and I think we're gonna try to make him a happy guy here. So we're going to take our V-tool here and clean up underneath the hat here a little bit more and experiment with your pieces. You know, come in and make some silly looking faces on him or whatever. Just take your knife, outline your triangle. Remove all 3 corners, 4 corners. We have same thing with the nose, the same thing. Remove that out. Okay, let's do the other eye. You know what? You could even put an eyelet on top of the hat and hang him somewhere. You know, if you decorate for the fall time of the year, well, I put him out there. Hang him up somewhere. Set him on your, carve one for your kid's bedroom or something like that. And things like that. All right. Now let's take a V-tool and we're going to put a smile on his face. Boy, looky there. Happy day. Look at there. Made a big difference right there. Just that cut right there. Probably got out of frame there. Sorry about that. But it happens. Well, folks, I do believe that is our project that you can do in a setting and to be getting yourself ready for the fall, Halloween and all that stuff. And change it up. Change it up. You know, put different expressions on him. You could even carve a regular face on here instead of a jack-o'-lantern hat or face. So anyway, well, thank you for joining us today on this little jack-o'-lantern project that we just did, and I hope that you have a good day, and thank you for joining us. I had fun being with you all, and happy carving.